What's going on, guys? Your boy Josh from Bogies and Bullshit here. Episode number 5. We're going to talk real talk, masculine energy, toxic masculinity. Wow. Let me first off saying that a little public service announcement. I am not a professional by any means. I am not giving advice. I'm telling you what's going on in my life, how I feel on certain issues, and, just going on a little, rant at the end of the day. Secondly, disclaimer, I'm not trying to offend anybody here. So please don't take offense to anything. That's not my intent. My intent is just speaking on certain things of what I believe. I'm not trying to offend women. I'm not trying to offend anybody. Also, I'm just a guy that's going through a divorce, battling custody issues, and, taking it day by day, just navigating the waters of like living this new life of, no longer being married and raising kids separately and, back in the dating game and just trying to navigate the waters. So like I said, I am not a professional by any means. Let me also just start off saying that, please like, subscribe, comment, direct message. You guys can hit me up on Instagram at JPD628, and I'm on TikTok and on YouTube as at Bogies and Bullshit. And, please, guys, like, subscribe, watch my videos, tell me what you think, give me comments, and, and we'll take it from there. I put up a lot of videos like the questions of the day, and the questions of the day is me asking for advice. It's not me giving advice. This is going to be like a platform where, like, I am asking for advice. I'm not giving it. Like, I am not a professional. The questions of the day are me literally asking you guys to tell me what you think on certain things. I have my opinions on it, given my perspective, but like I'm asking what you guys think, because I think that a lot of these things that I'm asking do affect relationships and are big, deal breakers and red flags and etc. in a relationship. So the questions that I ask are, you know, important to me because it's going to give me guys feedback. I'm putting the feelers out there, trying to see what you guys think about the situation, putting feelers out there, piquing interest. You guys can watch, and then it'll give me content to talk about. I told you I'm going to eventually have somebody on here, have some guests, make it like a podcast type of thing. I'll get women on here to give their perspective. I'm actually trying to get a woman on here right now. I'm going to try to convince her to give her perspective on things, especially like a topic like today where I'm going to talk about like women being in their masculine energy and like toxic masculinity. And it would be good to have a woman's perspective on these kind of things, talking, and me and her will just like bullshit over here, and we'll talk about what's going on with these certain topics. Because, questions of the day, I think that is me asking for advice, and also a lot of the things do affect the relationships, like different cultures, politics, religions, how they have the effect on your relationship. Are these the things that you discuss with your partner before going forward? Like, like I asked, is it a red flag if that person's not your partner's not going down on you? Like, yeah, being deprived of that is like a huge issue in a relationship that can really affect it. How many times should you be having sex a week? Lack of sex could be affecting it. Some people said every day. Some people said 3 times a week. Some people said every other day. Some people have sex once a week, once a month. I know someone that had sex, didn't have sex with their partner for a whole year. Obviously, that was a red flag. Something was going on with that relation. That relationship came to an end. But you know what I'm saying? Like, sex is important. That sexual intimacy is important. And these are the red flags. Can bad sex in a relationship be an issue? Because, you can have a partner that you love. Like, I love you. And you'll be having sex with this person and be like, damn, I love you, but this sucks. Like, this is boring. It can be boring. It can be crappy. Like, is that important? Is that a deal breaker? Does that affect your relationship? Absolutely. I think that, do looks matter? I think so, because I think that physical attraction is so huge. And like, when you first meet somebody, you're going based off of physical attraction. At least I am, whether you're on a dating app, you're on Instagram, whatever, and you're looking at somebody, you see them in person, and you're going to hit on them and talk to them. Like, the first thing that's catching your eye is physical attraction, in my opinion, because you're like, wow, I'm attracted to this person. They're hot, they're beautiful, they're sexy, they got a nice body. and then you start with that, and then you get to know each other, and you move on to other attributes, like things that you got going on in your life, and common interests and stuff like that. But like, I think that it's huge. I also asked the question this week, like, do you really want to know your partner's body count? I don't think so, because like that can affect your relationship. Knowing that your partner slept with so many people could be a huge turn off in a relationship. If your partner's cheap and doesn't spend money, is that a turn off? Absolutely. People have told me that. So these questions of the day are, important. I'm getting feelers out. It's me asking for advice to, find out what you guys think on these issues and if they do affect relationships. And like, I think that having a female guest on here is going to give a good female perspective on things, and you'll get the man perspective and the female perspective. And, and that would be good. Like I said, I'm going through it, and I want to know, because these are going to be things that moving forward, I know what to look for, what not to look for, and this could probably help out future, people in the future also, and one of the things that like I noticed lately, and that me and another person were talking about, was like masculine energy, and why females are so stuck in this masculine energy. And it sucks, because like men don't want that. Like, we don't want a woman that's acting masculine. We don't want a woman that's yelling at us. We don't want a woman that's fighting with us. We don't want a woman that's giving us a hard time. We want a woman that gives us peace. We want a woman that's soft and nurturing. And I'm not saying to be a weak woman, but submit a little bit. Be submissive. Like, no one's saying to be a yes woman and like say yes to everything. I mean, there's certain things that I want you to say yes to all the time. That would be great. But like, we don't want a woman that's stressing us out. Men, we deal with a lot of stress. And this is not to say that women don't deal with stress either. Women deal with stress also. But like men, we deal with stress of work. We deal with stress of a family. We deal with stress of finances. So like, we're dealing with all this stress, and we want a woman to like be that peace. We don't want a woman coming home trying to act like the man, yelling, being aggressive and stuff like that. That's not something that we want. And a woman's argument would be, well, men make women be masculine. Men are not men these days, and they make women have to act like a man. And I agree, it happens. Like, I notice it. There's a lot of men out there that are not acting like men. Men are not men anymore. And like, I get it. The woman has to step up, and she has to be the man, and she has to take the lead. And it's changing it for everybody, man. Because when you got a man out there that like wants to take the lead and is a masculine man, and then they meet a woman that's all acting masculine, it's like, you know, what are you doing? And then like, you're like, hey, I'm a different kind of man. Like, you don't got to act that way anymore. And they're just stuck in that way. And like I said, man, we don't want that. We want peace. We got a lot of stress. We want the peace. Uh, Women are acting like men lately. And like I said, ladies, I'm not trying to offend you. And I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me that you feel like you have to be in that masculine energy. And, but a man wants a woman that's going to be in her feminine energy. Like I said, soft, nurturing, cooks, cleans, takes care of us, affectionate, you know, submissive. Like, that's what a man wants. And, like I said, women are going to say, well, if a man acts like a man and he's in his masculine energy, then that will allow us to be in our feminine energy. And I understand that. I get it. I get that. So I'm going to side with you. I come from a family where the women are very strong women, very independent. My mom, she's a hustler. She's, a very strong woman, says what she wants, doesn't care what anybody has to say, but she's also feminine. She shops, she loves shoes, she loves, cooking and cleaning, and she takes care of her family, and she loves her kids, and she loves her grandkids. And my sister the same way. Good mother, got a good career, very independent, strong woman in that masculine energy. And my aunt, has been holding down the fort for the longest time. She's a hustler, independent woman, and she's in that masculine energy too. And I think that's just, I came from women that are strong and independent, and I look for a strong, independent woman, but I also want a woman that's gonna like be in that feminine energy also. Like, I'm gonna be in that masculine energy, and I'm gonna be able to let you be in that feminine energy. And that's how it should be. And then people are gonna talk about like, oh, toxic masculinity, like, a man shouldn't be being with this toxic male. Like, that's not good. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man being a man. That masculinity, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. To me, I don't think there's ever too much. A man can never be. This even goes out to like the gay guys out there. Like, it doesn't matter if you're straight or gay. Like, you're a man, you're a man. At the end of the day, you know, what does it matter? That doesn't, there's gay guys out there that are so manly that you're like, you wouldn't even know that they're gay. You wouldn't even know. And so I don't think that, a man can ever be too masculine. Some people will say, oh, well, that's the wrong thing. Men have to be, men can't be like that anymore. Men have to be strong. Not strong. Men, don't have to be strong. They can do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I get it. But I don't think that a man can ever be too masculine. You know, some people will disagree and think that this whole toxic alpha male stuff, I think that every man should be an alpha male. Like, and if you're not an alpha, at least be a sigma. You know what I'm saying? You should not be a beta male. You should not be a beta and be a weak man. You should be an alpha male, tough guy, doing manly things. And if you're a sigma, more like that lone wolf, but you hold it down, you're still manly, and you're not in a pack, you're kind of like a lone wolf kind of thing, then more power to you. But that's my opinion on things. That's how I feel like that it should be. That a man can't be too masculine. And like I said, we want a woman that's gonna submit. Don't be weak or be a yes woman, but you know, men have to lead. And the woman's argument that is gonna be that a man has to lead and they'll follow. And I think that that's 100% accurate. Like, be a man, take the lead, let the woman follow, because a woman that's leading all the time is acting like a man, and that's when they're in that masculine energy. And a lot of relationships get ruined for the women being like too masculine. A lot of fighting. The man is not having the peace, but like, a man will be comfortable and they'll stay, but the woman will leave because she feels like she's not getting what she wants out of this relationship, that she's acting too manly, and that she has to hold down the fort, and that this guy is not taking the lead, and that will ruin a lot of relationships. And I know it because people have told me about it. That's how their relationship, you know, has came to a failure and to its demise. And it's like all the people that are going through this, divorce, separation, breakup, and there's kids involved. Like, remember, you're stuck with this person forever. You're stuck with this person forever. And even people that are like separated, divorced, and or broken up, that don't have kids, because let's say it doesn't just have to be about kids, but like, say you have assets like houses or businesses, like, until those assets are completely separated and sold or divvied up, like, you have to deal with this person forever. So like, make it civil, make it amicable. Don't let it turn into hell, because that just affects the kids, or it just makes things so crappy. Like, don't make it more difficult than it has to be. I know situations where like, you know women are responsible for making it crazy like that. And I'm sorry, like I said, no offense to the women, but a lot of you guys are making it more difficult. Or there's men that are not over the women that are making it more difficult. They're in their feelings. Like, I get that too. But like, grow up, guys. Grow up. Get out of this. I'm telling you, it didn't work. Move on. You know, you're only hurting the kids, or you're only making things worse, and it's not worth it. You know, like I got a phone call the other day, and I get a lot of scam calls. So I got this phone call and I have like this block filter, but it popped up New York State. So I'm like, oh crap, maybe it's the courts. Like maybe I missed a court date, and like I got nervous. So I called it back and a lady answered. I'm like, hey, did you just call me? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, well, it comes up as New York State. She's like, oh yeah, I work for the state. I have it routed to my personal phone, whatever. And I'm like, oh, are you from the courts or whatever? And she's like, no, different department. She had nothing to do with me, but I was like, oh, I have court dates coming up. I thought maybe I missed a court date and it was the courts calling. She's like, no, I have nothing to do with that. But she's like, but I feel you. She's like, I'm going through it. And she started telling me that she's going through a divorce for like, 8 years of separation and 2 years in divorce, and like nothing's happening, and it's just chaos, and lawyers are getting rich, the courts are getting rich, and she's just losing out on money, and it's crazy because everyone's going through it right now. No matter where I look, I watch TV shows, I talk to people hit me up. Once I came out on this channel, people would hit me up, people that I didn't even know that are going through it. Like everyone is going through it, and everyone has the same story when it comes to the court system. It's, different divorces, but the same story when it comes to the court, when it comes to like dates being pushed, nothing happening, just stagnant. And it's crazy because no one wins. No one wins in a court case. The lawyers get rich and you get poor. Nobody wins. And then you have third party interference. Do you really want a third party? Like I know somebody that's not in the court system right now, but it's getting there. Like, and I'm like explaining, like, you don't want that. And they say, oh, the other party's not giving me a choice, they're giving me a hard time about it. And like, you don't want it there. You don't want a third party to dictate when you see your kid, what you can do with your kid. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. And then I spoke to somebody else today. They were telling me that they were in a similar situation, going through a divorce, that they have to sell their house and they have to move into an apartment. Their whole life is flipping upside down, and they're going through a divorce, and they're just losing money, and the lawyers are getting richer. It's crazy. Like, I don't wish that on anybody. That's why I try not to fight. I try to be civil as possible. I'm pretty good when it comes to that. Like, I'm over the whole divorce situation. All I care about is my kids. I don't want to fight about the situation. Let's get it over with. I'm a huge believer in, you know, what goes around comes around kind of thing. Like, I don't wish bad on anybody. I believe whatever, you put on someone else comes back to you tenfold. I don't wish anybody harm. I don't wish anybody bad. I just want this over with. And I don't want to deal with this anymore. And like, for you guys that are going through it, like I said, it sucks, but you're gonna get through it. It's gonna get better, and I promise you, every day is gonna get a little bit better. But don't make it more difficult, because you're gonna have to deal with this person for the rest of your life if you have kids involved. It sucks. Like I said, sometimes you just have kids with the wrong person, and it's miserable. But like, you're stuck with this person forever. So why would you want to make it worse? Why would you want that stress and that fighting? I mean, if it's fresh and brand new, understandable. There's a lot of like emotions involved in it, and you might have one party thinking logically, the other one thinking emotionally, and it might affect, the situation. But if you don't have to be in that court system, don't do it. I'm telling you, it's miserable, and just try to get through this amicably. And that's the best thing. That's what I try to do. I try to make it civil. Like, yo, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want anything. There's nothing to fight over. The kid's going to be taken care of. That's the only thing that matters. Let's just move on. You go start fresh. I go start fresh. We didn't work out. We had kids with each other. We were the wrong person for each other. But let's just move on and get through it. Like, my kids take priority. Only thing that matters is them. And like, I'm trying to start a fresh life. I'm dating again. I'm trying to like, get through this. But like, living court date to court date sucks. It does. So listen, guys, if you're going through it, this too shall pass. Like I said, follow me. I'm on Instagram at JPD628, TikTok and YouTube at Bogies and Bullshit. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me, watch my videos, give me answers. You can DM me, you can comment on the videos. This is me asking for advice, guys. Give it. give me some advice. Tell me what you think on these things, and I'll put them out there. And like I said, I'm gonna open it up where I'll get a female on here, get the female perspective. I'll get men on here to tell their side of the story and their on how they feel on certain things. I'll get females to tell their side of the story, how they feel, and everybody get a shot to get a platform to talk about the things that they had to deal with during these hard times, and maybe it'll sway some people to like be like, wow, I don't want it to be that way. Or for couples that are not even going through a divorce right now, but might be in a bad patch, or one of you watching right now that is in a relationship and you're like, wow, I don't want this to happen in my relationship. What do I need to change? What kind of conversation should I be talking to my partner about? Like, what are things that I should be, fixing in my relationship so I don't have to get it this way? Or people that are on the cusp of bad things happening and they're ready to move forward with a divorce or a separation. Maybe it'll either change their mind, or men or women will kind of just be like, listen, I don't want it to be chaos, let's just do this the right way. So this is just a platform, guys. Like, I'm asking for advice, giving you my take on things. Maybe this will open some people's eyes on certain situations, and let's not be children here. We're adults. Things didn't work out, let's move on. So, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, follow me, guys. Trying to put this out here every week, a different video. I'm doing the questions of the day. Let's get it going. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. If you're in your feelings right now, watch my video. Maybe I'll put you in a better place. You know, this too shall pass, guys. We're going to get through this. Burn the ships, baby. Have a good one.